Thanks for coming in, Adam.
No, thanks for having me.
We just had the Cortellings in, and I had a cool. My wife and I now we've been married for 2 years. Had our first date at Possibilities, and you let me propose to my wife in your house out at Skaneateles.
Yeah, that was a good day. I remember that. That was good. I love Possibilities. It's a great place.
Possibilities is awesome.
Yeah.
So we're having people in because this whole theme of the series is people who have made an impact in the restaurant community in Central New York. From what I've gathered from you is that you're a very humble person and probably won't take much credit for it. But you are owner of some really important restaurants in Central New York. The Krebs, Elephant and the Dove. The Krebs especially, this restaurant that has this incredible history in Central New York. And then, recently with stepping into, with the Hilltop restaurant and then Johnny Angel's.
I love the restaurant business. It's been a work in progress for a long time. So, just when I get a good idea in my mind, just decide to, open something different and just try to expand it for the area.
How did the Krebs come about for you?
I was walking down the street in Skaneateles one day, and a real estate broker came up to me, and she said, "Oh, this might be something good for you. This family that's been doing Krebs forever. They just someone had passed away in the family, and she said it was going to have to close. And she said, you should try to keep it open.
Yeah.
And then it sort of morphed from there. And then originally I wanted to do the restaurant, and then had talked about it with Kim and decided to make it a nonprofit, restaurant, with all the money goes to charity. Yeah, so it's been fun, it's been the restaurant's really been a work in progress, and I definitely like, the direction it's been going, so.
Yeah, you guys, recently, last year or two, have really kind of made it a little bit more approachable, right, with the menu and whatnot?
Yeah, I think the mistake was, when we started it with a really amazing chef.
Yeah.
Chef's in New York City now, and I think he's one of the maybe top 3 chefs in the region.
Yeah.
Doing that 1 Michelin star level kind of kitchen is a really expensive proposition. And it was, I just think it was not really what I wanted to do around here, even though it was amazing and it was fun, he did a great job. But not as many people could afford it as I wanted it to be. So I had to revisit that. We scaled down the prices. Originally, I think the food, after that gentleman left, the food was okay. But we've worked on it, and I really like it. The restaurant's really busy now, which is great.
That's awesome.
It's the busiest it's ever been cover-wise.
Wow.
So it's good, but people just I wanted to make something more affordable.
Yeah.
The stay on brand that's what I wanted.
When I first started Eat Local New York, like we've been doing this for 6 years, one of the first interactions I had with a restaurant was with the Krebs and Josh, who was there at the time. And, we went out there and met with them, and you just kind of showing us around the restaurant. And I could not get over, not only the kitchen and how impressive that kitchen is, but then also the wine. It was just this absolutely gorgeous space inside. It
came out nice. It was a lot of work, because we wanted to keep it original. So we actually had basically taken it down to the ground and rebuilt it to look just like the original. So that was that was definitely a work of love on that. But yeah, Josh, when Josh was there, Josh was great. He was a great GM, superstar with John George, and now he's on Krebs is a good stepping stone restaurant for a lot of great chefs. So they come to the Krebs, and then we expect them to, move on to, bigger and better things. So.
Yeah. My family has been in Skaneateles for summer stuff since the 50s. My grandfather back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, if there was a jukebox, pinball machine, cigarette machine, it probably came from him.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Him or his business partner, the Stotts, who had, a marina out in Atisco, I think. But anyway, so they had built a couple places in Skaneateles Lake. We used to rent from the Rinaldi's for 20 years, down at their old place.
Yeah, no doubt, good people.
Yeah. And, knowing the history of the Krebs and seeing that it was still, you were able to kind of keep it alive and revitalize it was pretty cool. Somebody who, I'm very nostalgic about Skaneateles. I remember the old Talbots, I'd go in there and buy a pair of goggles and, toy when I was a kid.
Right.
I love the fact that it brings in such amazing talent. It really puts our area on the map with the talent that you bring in there.
Yeah, we've really had some really great people come through the restaurant, and I love to see, them moving on. Jared is one of the better chefs around. Jared has his own restaurant now, which
Yeah.
I think it's one of the better restaurants in the whole region. I think he's done a superstar job.
Yeah.
We were lucky to have him there. He's a great som.
Yeah.
And
Was Jared there?
yeah, Jared worked for under Chef Austin, Executive Chef Austin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Jared was there. Jared worked at the Krebs for a long time.
That's
and
amazing.
Now look what he's done. I mean,
Yeah.
I love his new place, and
Oh, yeah.
he's definitely taken restaurants to another area around
Yeah.
here for sure. So
What's funny is my wife and I were at St. Urban. Oh no, you're fine. My wife and I were there at St. Urban for our second wedding anniversary just
Right.
in October. All of a sudden, you walk in, and I had my back to the door, and you were having dinner with Coach. My wife kind of like kicked me, and she was like, Adam's over there. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, like timing that we're there on our second anniversary. You let us use your house to, let me use your house to propose to her.
that was fun.
And then all of a sudden, Coach Boeheim walked in, and I thought she was going to have a panic attack. I mean, she just absolutely lost her mind when Coach Boeheim.
He's a tough critic. He's a tough restaurant critic.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. He'll
Yeah.
be like, Adam, I love your restaurant, but Jared's just the best. So, he's like my best friend. He's very straightforward. So, but,
Yeah, no, it's just really cool to think of the talent that comes through that place. And, I mean, obviously you're going after top talent in your business.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what's it like? What's the mindset like of owning that restaurant and kind of being responsible for, something like that, trying to bring in that talent? Are you just trying to do the best that there possibly is? Or are you just trying to have something that's, focused on, it just serves that niche? Or, what's your mindset with it?
I mean, we're trying to find really good talent. With COVID, it's really tough with staffing.
Yeah.
But we've been able to really do okay through the time. It was really tough. You're understaffed at all the restaurants, but
Yeah.
we made it happen. Everybody stepped up, and it's a labor of love there. And the staff is great. And Kim at the Krebs runs a really tight ship.
Okay.
And Elephant and Dove is that's been a really great restaurant because I think that restaurant it needed time because when it opened I don't really think it was that good.
Really?
I thought the food was horrible. No, being honest, I mean it just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. It's my fault. I owned it, but I just didn't like the food, and it's really morphed into a fun restaurant that's actually making pretty good food. So
That's
it's not
great.
there yet, but it's definitely on the path.
Yeah. I laugh because most people that defend, they would be like, you're wrong, it's the best thing that there ever was. And that's amazing to hear an owner kind of say that.
The Krebs at one time, like when Austin was here.
Yeah.
When Austin was here, he was definitely he came from 11 Madison Park.
Yeah.
And which is a couple Michelin star
Yeah.
restaurant, and I think at that time it was one of the best restaurants in upstate New York.
Yeah.
But doing that price point, you can't serve truffles every day with every meal, and
Yeah.
But now I think it's a really good restaurant, and I think it's a good value restaurant, and it's a beautiful setting, and the staff is really wonderful there. So, and you're coming out to Skaneateles, it's just a beautiful setting.
Right.
The village it just makes a great backdrop for the restaurant.
How did you come to open the Elephant and the Dove?
Elephant and Dove, it's I wanted to do another restaurant. I saw the building. Somebody had offered me the building was coming on the market,
Okay.
and I bought it before it came on the market, and I decided it'd be a really great place. I love Mexican food.
Yeah.
Big, Mexican food is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
Vegetarian, so I can
Oh, nice.
do some stuff with that, and all the money from that goes to charity too. So,
Wow.
on the restaurants, it was never about making money. It was just about making people happy, and then at the same time, using that money
Yeah.
to do better things with it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if somebody had asked me, and I'm obviously no expert, but if somebody had asked me 5 years ago, 4 years ago, what do you think Skaneateles is missing? I never would have said a Mexican restaurant, but it's perfect fit for the village.
yeah, I mean the covers. They do a lot of covers there,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's a busy restaurant. But I think it fits in good. Tom Felicia
Yeah.
did the decorating, so he did a really good job, and good staff there. But it's that restaurant actually improves like each month. I think it improves a little. So
Yeah.
we're opening a sushi restaurant. That's the one that's going to be.
Yeah.
I think the diner will be next. I think that's next up, and then the sushi restaurant should open right after that. So I'm just going to keep
Yeah.
experimenting, just keep opening. I'd like to try to open like a restaurant or two a year.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. All in Skaneateles?
In the region, I
Yeah.
like the 315 region. So
Yeah.
I live part time in 607.
Yeah.
But it's the 315. It's just closer to everything where I am here. So
Yeah.
I just think I'll just keep doing some stuff, fun stuff in like Syracuse. Some of it I won't do on my own. Some of it I'll just help support.
Yeah.
Doing some with Danielle from Rise and Shine.
Yeah.
So I help them out some. She's the creative end of it. I'm sort of the financial end of it. So
What's the plan for that?
It's an Italian restaurant where I think it was Grimaldi's was.
Yeah.
So she's going to make it like fun Italian, and she's a really sweet lady.
Yeah.
And I really like them a lot as people. So she had come to me and had talked to me about it. I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely help out.
I was really trying to, and I never asked Jeff, but I asked Danielle, and maybe we can do it in the future to have a podcast where it's you, Danielle, and Jeff. I think that'd be a blast.
Yeah, Danielle's really great. You know,
Yeah.
so she's got a great personality. She's the fun one of the two of us.
Yeah, I'm sure.
She's the personality of the two of
Yeah.
us. So it'll be really fun when I see what she's doing. They're doing a lot of the work up there. So
That's awesome.
it should come out. It should be pretty fun.
What's the mindset that you have as a leader? I mean, because you've got all these projects. What's your mindset? Is your mindset, all right, I'm going to go in there, I want to open, let's say this restaurant, and I have my hand, are you close to that project, or are you just kind of finding the best talent and saying, go for it?
In the beginning, I was more hands-on there, but I'm not, because I'm so OCD about cleanliness and stuff, it was really hard for me to be there because I nitpick everything, and I think people were just losing their mind with me being there. So we had a lot of, I think, staff turnover because I was there. So it was best for me to, work, I think, behind the scenes and just support people that are probably a little better at that, the interaction with people than I am.
Yeah.
So I just am really crazy about kitchen cleanliness. And,
Right.
When we started out with Austin, you're starting at, basically a Michelin star level,
Yeah.
one Michelin star, not like multiple, but level kitchen. So it was spotless. It was scrubbed down every night. And once you start with that, it's
Right.
the bar, he set the bar very high, and I wanted to continue that along the way, and
wild.
not every restaurant is like that, but when people eat there, we want to eat in a clean, safe, healthy environment, and I just won't, there's no leeway on that for me.
Yeah. It just kind of goes back to the talent that you attract to the area, which I think, it helps put our area on the map for, restaurants, for the food scene. It's amazing.
Yeah, there's so many amazing restaurants. People talk, the 315 has great restaurants, and there's so many people doing great things. We had a little advantage. It's a little easier for me because with the the parent company that I have, we can finance these projects a little easier. But there's people that are starting things from ground up with very little money and doing big things, and those are the people that really should be applauded. Not somebody like me that can, I can get there a little quicker by writing a check. But the people that really are grinding it out, and the people that are the owners that are in the kitchen, they're
Right.
bussing the tables. Those are the people that really should get
For sure.
the kudos in this area, and there's a lot of them doing it.
Yeah.
And hopefully, and that's what I want to also do is if I see restaurateurs or cooks that need backing to start, and that's something that I'd like to do.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, talking to, we had Eric Devendorf on because, of his version of the Barstool Fund that he did last year. Raised $70,000 for, 18, 19 local businesses and restaurants. And we went out, and I went out this past week and interviewed 4 of them, and just for a few minutes, and we put together this cool video that I showed to Eric today of just them talking about how they use the money and, thanking him and, what kind of an impact it made in their business. And, one of the restaurant owners has had a restaurant in Syracuse for 25 years, successful restaurant owner. But hearing how a $5,000 grant that she got last year from that fund made such a difference in their business was really astounding to me, I mean, just a small amount of money in a small restaurant owner's life makes all the difference in the world.
And Eric is Syracuse. If you look at Eric Devendorf, I mean, well, I'm biased because he's a great friend of mine. He's a close personal friend, but I mean, look at the guy. I mean, the guy does so much for the community. He could have left. He stayed.
Yeah.
He's larger than life, and I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of him, not just the basketball, with the kind of person he is, because he just doesn't talk about it. He puts the work behind it, and he loves this area.
Yeah.
Kind of like Coach does too.
Right.
Coach is more miserable, but so that's a guy that we go to dinner almost every game. So it's a lot more pleasurable to go after a win than a loss, because it's probably the worst dining experience for that guy, after a loss. So.
That's amazing. I used to work, years ago, I worked at Metro Mattress, and we had Coach Boeheim. I worked there for Dave Shearoff when he was the CEO.
Yeah.
And Coach Boeheim was and Julie were the spokespeople for a little bit
I
there.
remember that.
And there was this commercial they did where the whole theme of it was Coach Boeheim at a press conference after a game, but he was in this great, happy mood and loved to answer all the questions because he got such a great night's sleep on his bed from Metro Mattress.
No doubt, I like that. Those were funny commercials.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's amazing to think, just his personality and having like the stability at SU Athletics with Coach Boeheim, and it's Eric and I were talking about that with like the difference between the basketball and the football program.
Yeah.
It's important to have like that stability in one form of our popular athletics.
Yeah, I love, the sports around here has been great for the area. Dino's a great, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Local guy eating in local restaurants. Coach is a huge foodie guy, so
yeah.
He's all about, going out to eat and spending money local. So,
yeah.
It's the athletics is, I think, really important to our area.
So, there's a lot of things that you do that bring attention to the area. And one of those things is the caliber of people that you've brought into SU basketball games over the years. Why is that so important to you?
I mean, I just think like this area, during, economies that are great, we're sort of lagging, I just wanted, it's great for people to come to the Dome, and so people can, meet these people, but also they're not sitting up in some VIP box. We're sitting down there on the floor where they're accessible.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. I just want to do fun stuff. And a lot of it's always charity based. I'll do something for their charity, like Dave Portnoy. He's coming to a game from Barstool, but I supported his charity in New York. That's how I met him originally.
Oh, awesome.
So a lot of the people I've met originally through charity and stuff like that. And then they always love, it's the Dome is iconic and people want to come here.
Yeah.
And like people think, oh, how do you get the people up here? It's very simple. People want to get away, come up here. It's a great time. The fans love it, and it's good. I've made some really great friendships from it. So. Yeah,
it really is amazing. I mean, I'm one of 4 children, and I'm the youngest of 4. I'm the only one that grew up in Syracuse,
right.
And but our family's always known Syracuse for Skinny Atlas, right? And so none of my siblings like Syracuse at all. They live in Nashville, down in New York City, Cincinnati. But one of the themes we've been talking about today is how much the city's changed in the past 6 years, especially.
Right.
Really a lot in the past 2 years. But my brothers, when they see the articles of the people that you've brought into a game, are like, is this real? Did this really happen? My sister was just in town for Thanksgiving, and we went to Oh My Darling, and she's just out of her mind. How does this restaurant exist in Syracuse?
Yeah, another good restaurant. Yeah, they do a great job there.
So, again, bringing attention to the places here. It's amazing what you do.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can bring up some more fun people this year. COVID sort of derailed it for a little, but people are definitely. Portnoy will be funny up here because he's a big fanatic of sports. So
that'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah, that'll be pretty crazy. So.
I'm a little worried about how some of the pizzerias are going to react when he gets up here.
I know, but I'm sure he'll pick like when we did the pizza review in the city, they just randomly picked those places out of the phone book. It was just
really?
like that, and that was it. They don't even say it's Barstool. They just call up, they order cheese pizza, show up, pay, eat,
that's amazing.
Leave. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. That was a good time.
You do a lot for a lot of people. And
a lot of people have done a lot for me too. So, 20 years ago today, 20 years ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I was in prison for a year. So,
wild.
I mean, so people supported me, and when you get arrested and stuff, am I allowed to say that on here?
Yeah, I guess
okay. But when I got arrested and stuff, people, first they try to bring it down, because it's just the nature of the beast. You get arrested and you get beat up and you lose your reputation and you get trashed. But then people really want to try to help you and bring you up. And this area, it's tough because you always got to get some haters and stuff like that. That's part of life, So, but the thing of it is most people, 99% of the people have been wonderful and supportive. And it's not that people owe me anything. I owe people a lot in this region. So it's only the beginning of giving back. And I use these companies, including the Scrap Company, as a vehicle to give back to the area. Yeah. And as younger, it was all about how I could enrich myself and let's be greedy and, how many this and that. But I view it a little differently, probably after I had kids too.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, it changes you a little. I have 3 daughters and stuff, so.
Yeah. So how do you feel, how do you view, or do you view it different, your leadership style from the restaurants to the Scrap to, now coming up on the, crypto warehouse or crypto mine?
Yeah, I mean, the crypto thing is a totally different animal, but, you're dealing with really young people. The staff is pretty young, and they're really dynamic, and they're really, it's it's a different generation, and it's really cool. It's probably the best project I've ever done is the crypto.
Really?
Yeah, by far.
Yeah.
It's really exciting, and it's we're plugging in more today. We're using all renewable energy, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool for this project. So
Yeah.
it should be but the style is pretty much the same. You just have to show people that you're all in. I'm probably not the easiest person to work with, because I'm not really like social
Yeah.
much at work, and
Yeah.
I sort of just keep pushing forward, and
Yeah.
it's some people either you love it or you hate it, So I don't know if I'd want to work for me, but but I think we have a really dynamic crew.
Yeah.
Combined, we almost have 1,000 people now,
Wow.
so it's a lot of people that are there. So it's
Holy cow.
Yeah, with the restaurants and the scrap and everything. Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's good, and there's a lot of wonderful people that,
Yeah.
that have helped me get to. This hasn't been a one person show.
Yeah.
So many people that have sacrificed their time to help me to get to this level is I just in my old age I'm more appreciative than I probably wasn't an appreciative boss when I first started out.
From what I understand of like the scrap business, it was kind of like a bit of a struggle, right? 20 years ago.
Yeah, I didn't
prior
really know
to-
what I was doing. I was in the art. I had an art gallery in the city.
Yeah.
I was never planning on being in the scrap
Right.
business. My sister got sick. She passed away. My dad asked me to come up for some help. I came up and help, and I didn't leave. And then
Yeah.
he retired, and I really didn't know what I was doing in the beginning. So I made some huge mistakes, and I was young also, and cocky, and I don't know, just trying to be somebody that I wasn't.
Yeah.
So.
What's your mindset like pre and post prison? Is it like, are you thinking, are you planning your like empire while you're locked away? Or are you
Not really planning an empire, but just planning on survival.
Yeah.
At that time, it was like just planning on just making it to round two. So that was more that. But in prison, it's weird because I had like a year just to think about things. I just would walk in a circle and I'd mop floors. That's all I did is mop floors, walk in a circle. Because I didn't want to really talk to anybody because I didn't want to get beat up and I didn't want to get in trouble either. So I just sort of as a year that I just minded my own business. And but I had a year of really clear thoughts. Because you're not bothered by TV, you're not bothered by the phone. The outside world doesn't. It goes on without you. So I had a chance to really plan, and I was just like inside, I was like, do I want this to be my legacy? I'm in the paper. I've just embarrassed my family because my parents weren't involved in my crime. It was just me.
Yeah.
It wasn't my employees or anything. There wasn't co-conspirators. It was just me.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's just a legacy I want to have. I didn't have kids back then, or anything. So I was like, there's a turning point. So do I want to go right or go left here? Because then I just was like, I got to do something better than this. So.
I mean, obviously you're far from done, right? In any of your endeavors or building building these different businesses.
No, I'm just like, physically I'm pretty tired, but I'm definitely just starting. Yeah, there's a whole new world out there of new things to try. The metaverse is, I really dove deep into the metaverse, so that's going to be a really cool thing when that comes out. What we're building there, so that's going to be pretty neat. So yeah, it's going to be some. Who would have thought 5 years ago we'd be talking about, building,
I have no idea what that
virtually.
means, but I did just buy a pair of VR goggles, and I'm thinking that
That'll
has
be
something
part
to do
of
with it.
Yeah, so yeah, it's going to be pretty neat when everything will tie in together.
As with most things, I'm like listening to Gary Vaynerchuk, and then now I'm, watching exactly what you and Jeff are doing, and I'm thinking to myself, there's something to be had there. I have no idea what any of it is or how that affects how Eat Local New York can be involved with that, or when that becomes a thing in Syracuse.
I think it'll become more and more sooner than you think.
Yeah.
So it's it should be pretty interesting. We'll see. You can never tell because it's uncharted waters. But,
Right.
It's been pretty exciting. So.
Have you gotten heavy into NFTs lately?
I'm not the big Jeff, who's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Jeff's really an NFT guy.
Yeah.
I do understand like the future of NFTs. Soon when you buy a sports ticket, it's going to be an NFT. It's not going to be a ticket anymore. So it's going to be, so that'll take away scalping.
Right.
Because there'll be every time that's sold, money will go back to like Ticketmaster, whoever is
Right.
going to be doing it. So, I mean, NFTs is definitely going to be a pretty interesting thing, but that's going to play a big part in the metaverse. But in the metaverse, I'm more into developing the land in the metaverse, and that's what I'm working on now.
Some of the biggest, exchanges ever are happening right now, and that with, land and
Sandbox,
ships
there's some
and-
really
yeah.
great stuff, and I'm lucky that I was able to play a part of those early.
Yeah.
You're taking a winger on it, virtual land, but when I saw Nike looking and I saw Gucci looking, I'm just like, there's something to this.
I had an idea to try and develop an NFT for Eat Local, and my thought was that, it would be just such an experience. Whoever is the owner of it at the time would just come to these events that we would do every single year. And once I figure out what an NFT is, maybe I'll do that. But
I think it'll fit in great with the food industry. It's gonna come.
Yeah.
It's definitely gonna come. And what you're talking about, like doing that with the events, I think that's like really neat.
I
Because
thought-
Jeff's really big into doing the events with his
Oh,
with
yeah.
the thing that I'm helping him with.
And I know that you're obviously based out of 607 area code, but has there ever been an appeal, or has there ever been a desire to like position yourself or anchor yourself in a different part of the country
No.
or world?
I mean, luckily, I've been able to. I have some places,
Yeah,
different
right.
places, but I'll never leave. No.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't want. We've been offered to
Just
move
home.
the company and do all this kind of stuff, but I'm never gonna leave 607. 607 will always be my first home, and then 315 is my home too. So
Yeah.
I like both a lot. So I still have the same house in 607 I had for 25 years. So
Oh,
I'll
really?
never. Yeah, it's a small house. Pretty modest house and modest block, and I'll never leave there just
Yeah.
because I just want. I just love it there. It's my good luck house. So
That's awesome. I have a good luck pair of socks.
yeah,
good
no
luck
doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, I have what's known as a bad luck house. It's in the ghetto, but my socks are pretty nice.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, so I'm a small restaurant owner. I'm thinking about getting into opening my first restaurant. Right, I'm going to open up here in Syracuse. Give me one, two, three pieces of advice that you're like, man, if I could get this into the mind of every future business owner, I wish they knew this.
I mean, food cost is huge. I think food costs and margins. I think a lot of people don't really know their food costs, and I think that's really the make it or break it for a lot of restaurants. I think inventory control is really important, and waste and spoilage are things that are not too glamorous to talk about, but I think that's the key.
Massively important.
Yeah.
We first started Eat Local. Somebody had, I was doing social media for like one or two restaurants, and on my phone back in the day. And somebody asked me to go visit this restaurant owner because they said she needs a lot of help, and just go see if you can help her. So I went and met with her. Her story, from what now I know, is like the story of a lot of people in the restaurant industry. She had a great job at a bank. She loved to cook at home. Her friends loved X, whatever it was, right? Insert here. And you've got to do it. You've got to open up your own restaurant. You make the best, whatever, you'll crush it.
Yeah.
And so she quit her job with benefits and everything and took out a loan and opened a restaurant. And she did make the best, whatever it was, but she didn't know how to buy food, how to do food cost, how to set a menu, pick a location, pick a name, market, or anything like that. And a year later, she was, out of business.
Yeah, because you can burn cash if you don't have your margins.
Right.
A friend of mine is one of the best soul food cooks.
Yeah.
He's like amazing. He's one of my best friends, and he opened a small restaurant. He served the best macaroni and cheese like ever. I was
Yeah.
just like, this is amazing. And like, it's $4.50. I go, how do you do it? He's like, I use like 13 cheeses. I go, well, what does it cost? And he didn't realize that every time he sold one, he was like losing money,
Oh, wow.
and it hurt. But it was just, it was one of the reasons. He was just a great chef, and everybody's like, oh, you should open your own restaurant.
Your restaurants are in Skaneateles, so they're not necessarily in the area of like the DoorDash and Grubhub and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
we haven't done any. I
But-
don't think we've done very much of those right now.
If you were in an area where they serviced, would you be on those platforms, do you think?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'd leave it up to the GM to decide
Yeah.
that kind of things.
I mean, they
but-
take 30%. A lot of people in here would shake their head no, but a lot of them are still doing it.
Yeah, I mean, some things are necessary evil things. Sometimes, some locations you have to do it. So
Yeah.
I don't begrudge someone for doing what
Sure.
they got to do to survive. You know what I mean? If people are going to pay the premium to get the service of that, I guess it's not really my thing, but it's probably
Yeah.
important thing to a lot of restaurants. Skinny House is like a destination place, so
Sure.
people aren't driving too far. A lot of people come from Rochester, though. Krebs has a big following from like Rochester.
Oh, wow.
So you get a lot of people from out of town. 607, a lot of people come up. So
I mean, like I said, I absolutely love Skaneateles. It's, it's our second home. I mean, if Skaneateles didn't exist, I don't think that, I would live in Syracuse. Even just going out to their Sherwood, Doug's, I mean, Johnny Angels now, you're going to be doing this diner, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Really exciting to see everything that happened there. The Hilltop was, our family would go to breakfast there for years and years and years.
Yeah, I started that, because it was my daughter Clover's favorite place.
Yeah.
So when they were to sit in there and they're like, oh, we're going to close. And she's all like bummed out. So it's like, what can we do to because you need a low priced option in Skaneateles.
Yeah.
It's so important that you have something that everybody can go to on a daily and congregate in after church or after school. And Hilltop did that. And they had, if you really look, they've had the same staff forever.
Yeah.
So I think it showed that that place definitely needed to stay.
Do you think Skaneateles is ever going to get commercialized the way that so many people have wanted it to?
No. No, I think the zoning is really tough there to do anything
for
there.
sure.
It's the world's toughest place to do anything.
Yeah.
So there's not that many spaces that, I don't really see that. A lot of the spaces on the main streets are smaller spaces, so I don't think you would get like a big, like a Wendy's or Subway or anything like that. And the rents are pretty expensive in Skaneateles.
Oh yeah,
so
sure they are.
I hope it wouldn't be, because its charm is how they've kept it. It's
Yeah.
very clean. It's very neat. They've done a good job in Skaneateles to keep it up.
All right, 3 most important things in your life. What are they?
Family's number one, of course. Number 2 would be this community is really important to me.
Yeah.
I love the community here, and that's a tough one. Number 3 would be a big thing for me is that everyone needs to, it's sad in our world, in this area, that people are still hungry, and that's one of the things with the restaurants about giving back. It's just, it kills me that we throw away stuff, or Paul and I just went to eat, and, there's extra food there, and then there's people that can't eat. So I think we have to make it that everybody, kids have, 3 good meals a day, and I think that's really important. People should have the bare minimum at least, and have a roof over their head, have hot water, have food, and just have a good quality of life. And we, I've been blessed with way too much for one person should have. Nobody should have as much as I have. So it's sort of like my obligation to give the stuff back and not hoard it and be greedy, because I already did the greedy thing and it didn't go so well.
Paul, what was the question you wanted me to ask? It was like fast paced.
Oh, quick fire.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Thanks, Paul.
No more 3 things. Don't worry.
Okay, it was like favorite hobby.
What was your favorite hobby?
I think my favorite hobby is just going for walks with my oldest daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite restaurant outside of zone in town.
Is it New Century? Because you go there a lot.
No.
And what was it, 2 years ago or last year when you guys were supposed to go there and they were closed?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
It's like Christmas, New Year's Day or something like that. You drove all the way out here.
So what's your favorite restaurant outside, like in Central New York?
Yeah.
In Central New York.
Glazed and confused.
I gotta think of that one. And I'm not sure. I'm giving a minute on that one.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's a tough one.
Man, I can't thank you enough for coming
No,
in.
thanks for having me.
You
Sorry
know.
I was late.
No,
So,
don't apologize
I
for
feel
that at all.
horrible. Sorry, everybody.
No,
Sorry.
I mean, it was, like I said, you play, I know your view on it, but you play a big role. And I know countless people tell you this all the time, but, you play a big role in the Central New York community and the food scene, and bringing the things, bringing this level of excellence to the food scene that others, these small places look up to and admire, and it's really important.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
It's
it.
good seeing you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Vince.